Good evening, guys. How are you this evening? I hope you've had a fantastic week. Hey, I didn't get to come to you earlier and show you dinner, so I thought I'd jump on and show you dessert. So this evening I'm making these beautiful lemon cupcakes, and you know what? I have not made these cupcakes since cooking classes when I used to do them face to face many years ago. So I'm super excited to show you guys these cupcakes, and if you've seen them, I'd love to know, so please do share as you're coming online tonight. I'd love to know if you've seen these cupcakes or tried them at home. Now there's a few twists you can do to this recipe to make it your own, and it doesn't have to be lemon. There are other citrus fruits that are just as amazing in this recipe. So say hi if you're on and watching, and let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make our batter. It says to get 12 silicone cupcake molds and grease them. Now I've got the awesome ones from the mix shop. They come in a grey or an orange. I've decided to mix and match. Okay, so that actually gives you 13, I think. Yeah, 13. Which, I don't know, odd numbers. Not sure about that. But anyway, there you go. They're in the varoma, they're ready to go. They're silicone, I don't have to grease them, which is awesome. Next step is 60 grams of white sugar. I'm going to use a raw kind of sugar that's that colour. It's actually a monk fruit sweetener, but it'll do the same job. It just means your cupcakes don't come out quite as brown as they might otherwise be. I'm not going to cut the sugar down. Two reasons. One, it's for hubby and I. But also two, we're dealing with lemon. And as much as it doesn't actually have lemon juice in it, in this part, it's got the lemon juice later on in the syrup, it's still going to have that lemon tang. Alright, so we do need to balance it out. And I quite like lemon, so I do want to make sure I can put the lemon tang into it as well. Now you can see the next steps is 1 lemon zest only, no white pith. So you grab your peeler, grab your lemon, and you just peel it. Just don't peel too deep. Sorry, you guys can't quite see that. There you go. Just don't peel too deep, because otherwise you're going to get the tangy bit that's underneath. Doesn't have to be perfect. I always leave tiger stripes in mine. Now, did you know lemons are amazing as dishwashing rinse aid? So when you finish squeezing your lemon out later for the syrup, you can actually put your mostly squeezed out lemon, it'll be cut in half obviously, in a dishwasher, and it's great. It's a dishwasher shiner, like it does that whole rinse aid thing. So there you go, that's done. Now we get to make an amazing smell. This is phenomenal. So we're going to put the lid on, and it's going to tell us to spin the dial to speed 9, and it's going to do it for 10 seconds. Now while it's doing that, I'd love to know in the chat, what else can you do with your lemons? Because I know there are so many other things you can do with the lemon juice and the lemon peel that's not even food related. So if you've got a suggestion on what you do with your lemons or your lemon peel to recycle, reuse, do it in a different way, I'd love to know. Alright, 10 seconds speed 9, let's spin that up. Good evening, Christine. We are making the lemon cupcakes with citrus syrup. So a classic old recipe that actually I remember doing as a brand new consultant at a cooking class, like a Thermomix official cooking class. We used to present this dish, and it's beautiful. So now we have, you can see it's a little bit wet in there, so it's clumping together, but we've made icing sugar. But as well as that, you can see that yellow through it is actually the lemon peel. Okay, so ready to go in there. It smells absolutely amazing. Okay, 130 grams of butter. How good is it that with the Thermomix we can just chuck it in chunks and we don't have to have it softened for us? 120, that'll do. Oh, next, insert the measuring cup, and now it's going to beat this up for 8 seconds, speed 5. All right. Pretty much done. I love that even when you cook with a Thermomix, you really do use your senses still. You can still smell, you can hear, you can taste when things are ready. But it was pretty much at the end of its timing anyway, so that's amazing. By the way, those of you watching along, maybe you don't have a Thermomix, maybe you don't know what, maybe you've got a TM5 or 31. These recipes that I'm making right now can be made on a TM31 or a 5 or another Thermocook. Okay, so if you've got something else, take these recipes. I generally tell you everything I'm putting in, so you can literally cook along at home later on. All right, so now it's just to add a couple of eggs. Look at that, guys. We have whipped that up beautifully. We've literally creamed it. I don't know if you've got memories of old day creaming with the beater or the wooden spoon, but how good is it that Thermomix does it in seconds? All right, nobody's got time for hand mixers these days because you just wouldn't, would you? You'd probably just buy the cakes and buy the muffins and buy rather than doing it yourself. Okay, so this is 2 eggs plus an additional yolk. Okay, so I've got it organised early because the next step is going to ask for that to go in. There's that egg yolk. Okay, self-raising flour. Now, strangely this week, you guys know that I would normally, well, those of you who will follow along regularly on my daily videos, you know I would normally buy plain flour and I'd convert it to the self-raising flour using baking powder. Now, I went to IGA down the road, which normally always has my gluten-free goods. They were all out of plain. So I had to buy the self-raising. Okay, that's cool. I think it's the first time in probably 12 months I've bought self-raising flour, but it'll do the job. So, and the other thing is, even if the kids want to make pancakes and stuff over the weekend, it won't matter. We just won't put the baking powder step into that recipe, because what that does is it converts the plain and it gives it the fluffiness and the airiness and the rising. So this will rise on its own. Good evening, Marianne. Good evening, Carissa. How are you? Oh, I love that. So one of the MasterChef contestants, I'm just having a read of the comments, used a thermo. That is cool. I love that. You won't often hear them talk about it though because they're not a sponsor, so they're not allowed to. Okay, 170 grams of self-raising flour. So I'm using gluten-free. Obviously, if you're not gluten-free, just use gluten flour. It doesn't matter. Just normal self-raising. All right, 170 grams. But it is a straight swap. For those of you who need to be gluten-free, it's a straight swap. Okay, 180 grams of coconut milk. Now, I'm going to use coconut cream because that's what I've got. Now, if you don't have this, swap it with cow's milk. It'll work perfectly fine. I promise you that swap will be amazingly fine. You won't even know that you've swapped it. Don't feel like you've got to go out and buy that can of coconut milk. Okay, use what you've got. If you've got almond milk, use almond milk. Use whatever you've got on hand. If you've got leftover buttermilk from making butter, use that. Okay, whatever you have. It just has to be a liquid of some sort. Mine might be slightly thicker and a bit richer, but it doesn't matter. I'm not going to go. And actually, really, I could water it down. So coconut milk is just watered down coconut cream. But it's not. I'm not even going to worry. Okay, we're done. Can you believe it? So lid goes on. Now, I love this recipe because we're going to steam them. All right, so they are going to go in there for aroma. And we're steam them. Just making some space. All right, scrape the sides. You can set the measuring cup, and it's got 4 seconds again. So, especially gluten-free. I don't know if those of you who are gluten-free, you'd know it just floats around. But I mean, flour in general has that floaty tendency. So I love the TM6 spatula. It actually pushes the food down beautifully. It actually reaches the sides because it's flexible. How cool is that? So just push this all down into the bottom. Then we've got 4-second mix time, and then we are good to put this in the cupcake containers and start their steam time. Look at this pesky fly, guys. One pesky fly. Where do they come from? We've barely been home today. How did it even get in the house? Okay, 4 seconds. Okay, fill the cupcake molds halfway, then set the varoma aside. Then it's just to clean and dry the mixing bowl. You guys know me. That's not going to happen, right? I'm just going to leave it as it is and fill it with some water. Let me just put this aside so you guys can see what I'm doing. All right, let's put this one up first. Now it says it only makes 12, so I may leave one free. Just give you a little view over here. Here we go. So, half filled, they said. There we go. Now I could use my cupcake pen. Those of you who are familiar with demos, you might have seen me use the cupcake pen for your Brazilian cheese puffs. Tonight, I think it's in the caravan. I didn't go and grab it. I just kind of rolled with it. It took me a while to find the perfect thing to make for you guys tonight. I was like, what am I going to make? Missed the dinner run. What will I make? So this took a little while to find. But I'm very excited. I don't think I've ever shown you this recipe. There's so many ones. I love that, I've been doing this 5 days a week, sometimes more, for so long now. And still finding new recipes I've not shown you. How cool is that? And this is a classic. This is around back in TM31 days. I think it might have even been in the TM31 recipe book. I'm just looking for a way to fill these up. Might just put that up there. Nope, that's flexi. Okay, never mind, back down here. I can do this. All right. I'm going to leave the middle one empty just because I don't think I've got enough batter to make 13. So we'll just leave that empty. It does say it makes 12. Oh, that was a bit filling. So I'd love to know in the chat, has anyone actually made these? Now, if you don't like lemon, there are other options. How about lime? How about orange? Really, it's adopting its flavouring from two things. What you put in the syrup shortly. Oh, I just filled the middle one. I said I wasn't going to. But also the zest. Okay, so there's so many different options you could put into that there as well. All right, let's fill one more. That'll make us 12. Except I just missed the cupcake container. Nothing like making a mess on Facebook Live. Alright. That was not the neatest final one. Anyway. In that goes. Clean and dry mixing bowl. Yeah, never mind. A little bit might cook on. And now we're putting our steaming liquid in. So it wants 1 litre of water. In that goes. And we're only steaming for 20 minutes. So really 1 litre is more than enough. It probably needed 1 litre. I'm going to cut short on that actually. It actually probably needed 1 litre when we more had the 31 and the 5 model because they heated up slower than our TM6 does. Our TM6 is hotter and faster and quieter. So I think I'm not going to put a litre in there. A litre is going to take longer to actually get to temperature. I think 8, for considering we're only steaming for a while. Let's have a look. Put the lid on. That much water, 1 litre, will give you an hour worth of steaming. Okay, so those of you who aren't familiar with steaming or you've not listened to me before, you'll know that half a litre of water, half an hour of steaming, no matter what you're steaming. 1 litre of water, 1 hour of steaming. Okay, if you want to do an hour and a half of steaming, you need 1.5 litres. So that's how you work out because it's going to reduce over time as the water evaporates. Alright, so Varoma goes on top. This one first. This one second. Now I will lift my machine out off camera because I don't like steaming completely under the bench. So I will pull it out in a minute once I'm off camera. So it's got 22 minutes, turn speed selected to 1 and off it goes. Now, those of you who watch me as well all the time know that I don't like to do things more than once. So I'm going to steam on speed 2. I'd rather overcooked rather than undercooked. Now, a couple of extra notes on steaming things in your Thermomix. If you've ever steamed puddings and things like that, they will often say to cover it because condensation can drip back down, particularly to the middle one and the top, and gives it a funny texture. It tastes amazing still, and once you put the sauce on top, no one would even notice. But it does have a unique stodgy look if it gets the drippings on it. So when you ever see a pudding or a cake that's being steamed or even a cheesecake, you'll often see them ask you to put 2 layers over the top. Not a big deal with this recipe. Okay, now if you didn't want to steam them, you could put them in the oven. They'll take 15 minutes in the oven, but they're going to have a different texture. They'll be more like a muffin. These are actually nearly more like a little pudding. They are really amazing. They are fluffy. They bounce back when you knock them on the top, and very light and fluffy, but also no crustiness because we're steaming them as opposed to dry cooking them in an oven. So 20 minutes of aroma speed 1, and then the next step, I won't be back on camera to show you, but let me tell you, it is so easy. You make a syrup with lemon juice, water, and sugar, and you cook it, and it reduces down, and you pour it over the top. It is quite runny from memory. It's not like a really sticky sauce. It is more on the borderline of watery than runny. So if you do like it really sticky, reduce your water down a little bit in there, so it's not as much. Let me just confirm what I've just told you now that I've told you that. Let's make sure I haven't got it wrong because it has been a long time since I've made it. Yeah, syrup, white sugar, water, lemon juice. That's it. So I was correct, which is awesome. And it cooks off, see, it only cooks off for 3 minutes. So it really doesn't have much time, but you'll also notice it's not a huge amount. It's only 600 grams of lemon juice. It's 15 grams of water, which I would completely omit if you really like a tackier, like sticky syrup. All right, guys, that is it from me tonight. Please take care this long weekend. I know in Brisbane it is quite wet out there. The roads are a little bit crazy, so please do take care. Over the weekend, if you need to reach out to ask about recipes, demos, you want to tell friends and family about your Thermomix and they need information, anything like that, please don't hesitate to reach out. I love hearing from you. I love to know what you're making, your favorites in the Thermomix, those sorts of things. So please do reach out if I can help you in any way with your Thermomix. Otherwise, everyone, take care, and I'll see you back here Monday at the very latest for whatever I'm making next week. I will be planning it over the weekend, I'm sure. Okay, bye for now, guys. It will be Monday, even though it's public holiday, so I'll see you back here Monday. Bye for now. Take care till then.